They are not reps, bro. They ain't reps.
Except last night we went into the city to try and look at the Christmas tree, and it turned out that everyone was looking at the Christmas tree.
That's because it's Christmas time.
Yeah, but I thought everyone would have already done it by now.
So did you get to look at it?
Yeah, but we didn't realise that there was an event on. They had like the choirs, like I don't even know what it was. Kids Christmas choir, I guess. I don't know. So the council building was lit up and there was kids and there was
So
people.
you had to get out of there?
Yeah, to leave.
Get it? He's a pedo.
Pedo, you're a pedo. And you're adopted. An extra large, long black, and then he got a coffee. Ha ha ha.
What did you get?
Ice long black, baby, every time.
Ice long black every time.
Every time.
Yours?
No ifs, buts, or maybe. Yeah, I sent a team-wide message yesterday. I'll be taking kind of like between now and New Year's, so what's that, like 7 days? Not off, but like back a little bit. So I'll still do like their updates and training and nutrition stuff if there needs to be changes, but primarily most of them have been adjusted or changed already, so I should have most of the time off to actually just do work, which ironically isn't actually to do less work, it's to do work on the back end stuff. Business ownership. Professional. International businessman. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Hey, here's a hot take. They don't make movies like they did in the 2000s, 2010s anymore. Someone, I can't remember who it was, someone put up like a famous celebrity, put up a, what's the guy from, not 30 Rock, Just Shoot Me, David Spade?
Yes.
He put up, I think it was him, he put up a quote and it was like, the industry can't make movies like Step Brothers or Anchorman anymore, or like Wedding Crashers or Tropic Thunder. They don't make movies like that anymore. And I agree. We need more movies like that. There's no like solo, one-off, hilarious, culturally inappropriate movies. We actually socialized on Sunday, went to the beach, went out of the house, left places, did different things.
Where'd you go?
Southport.
Oh yeah. Who'd you go with?
Tom.
And his partner?
Nah, she's away somewhere.
So just Tom?
Yeah.
Did you just get your kid out?
What?
Did you get your shirt off?
Tom was there, of course I did. Who else will put my sunscreen on?
Yeah, that's true. Were you getting looks from everyone? Like, fuck, we've never seen someone this big and jacked on the beach.
It was pretty empty.
Like, you weren't near where the flags were.
Yeah, I'll make it very clear. Oh, Ben, come on, let's go.
What?
Chin up comp, right now, me and you. Brooklyn will hold this.
I haven't even warmed up.
No, you don't, just get the fuck on it.
When did all of our videos start becoming demanding me to do exercise?
Brooklyn told me I need to take control. All right, let's go. Like, if you can just do 10, that's fine. Oh, fuck. Bro, all the way down. They are not reps, bro. They ain't reps.
Oh, fuck you. Go on then.
Let me show you how it's done. No warm up, bro. And I'm longer. See? That's a rep.
You are struggling hard.
No feet.
That's how it's done, bro.
Is Jess used to you getting tired after 10 pumps?
At least I got all the way in.
I get all the way in, there's just not much there. I've been trying to get people to understand that when people buy businesses or sell businesses, they're not buying, like if the product that you are selling is only in your head or something that you have to do, you don't have a business, you have a person.
Yeah.
So to sell it and actually make it a useful product or a useful service or system, you need systems and workflows to make it what you're doing replicable so someone else can come in and operate it. That's how you actually sell a company. They're buying the leads, the database, and the systems that manufacture the product or service that you have. If all you're doing is just keeping it in your brain and that's what you're trying to sell, well, you just have a shell. You have a name and an ABN. So to actually sell it, it's a systems, in my opinion. The $25 balloon lights up.
So sweaty.
Oh, it really is. It's gross.
You were the last person I'd expect to get excited over
A balloon?
a balloon.
Schvetty. Fuck you, Chris.
Oh, did you see my comment on the...
Thanks, Chrissy. You know, he has no idea about this joke.
Yeah, no, he doesn't. So
That makes it even better. Bro, C4 is a pre-workout trash. C4 is an energy drink. It's great.
yeah, energy drink C4.
Yeah.
Yes, C4.
Cold, crispy
yeah.
C4. Great. Good stuff.
That I do agree with.
Yeah. C4 as a powdered pre-workout, terrible.
Yeah.
You may as well just give me like a Red Bull. But then put it into a can and I'll have it for the day. What is up, YouTube? We are back with the second edition of our morning lifestyle preparation start your day vlog, I guess. It is 2 days before Christmas, so we're probably going to dive into some stuff about end of year, New Year preparation, Christmas strategy, etc. Even though pretty much most of the year is probably going to be, I mean, Christmas will be over by the time this comes out, but you know, is what it is. But yeah, so we're going to go through the morning, gone for our walk. Phil's going to try and capture me as candid as possible, pretending like there isn't a camera here, and we haven't changed our morning routine to do the things that he's here. I don't know what he's talking about right now, but he's doing something with Brooklyn. Oh.
Just pointing out how sexy you look.
Pretty accurate.
Is there a third leg there, Phil, or are you just happy to see me?
I'm very happy to see you. I'm very aroused.
But yeah, so we'll get into some questions, get into some sort of how we start a day. Again, we're, as an update's sake, another 2 weeks since the last video came out, I believe. We are now inside 14 weeks out from show 1. Weight has moved down nicely. I'm inside the 89 kilo mark. Puts me about, I think, about 4 kilos above stage weight. Chris will probably agree, roughly, depending on how supplementation kicks in and the body starts to respond. But yeah, so things are moving nicely. We've got plans in place for Christmas. Nothing crazy. No drastic meal changes. We're still running the same macros. So I've got 325 carbs, 220 protein, and 55 fat, which puts us just around the 2,500 calorie mark, which for me is the highest I've been at this condition, this far away from a show. So I am very happy about it. But yeah, so this will be vlog 2. Yeah, we'll get into some questions soon, do some stuff, answer some things. Oh. Alright, so here's a hot take. If you're genuinely eating Christmas food, you realistically can't overeat if you've chosen genuine Australian summer Christmas food. I ate plenty on Sunday. We went down for family lunch because we're not doing Christmas on Christmas morning. His mum and partner have had to go away up north. It is so hard to overeat Christmas food if you legitimately choose Christmas food. So like turkey, ham, lean beef, chicken, prawns, starch carbohydrates, pumpkin, carrot, sweet potato, roast veggies, capsicum, broccoli, cauliflower, onions. If you legitimately make plates of that, the likelihood that you're going to overeat actual calories versus just feel full from satiety is so low. The funny thing is, like, people feel gross and full. It's because it's probably the first time in a long time they've had high fibrous, high protein meals, and then they try and pair it with a bunch of alcohol and then try and scoff down Christmas dessert. That's where the kicker is. But the actual food itself, your main course meals, you're not sick from overeating in the sense of overcaloric consumption. You are sick because you're so full and you're not used to having high fiber, slow digestible, high protein meals. And that catches up when you put it in for the first time in months. So that's what I think the actual kicker is on Christmas that most people get wrong. The calories are rarely an issue unless you're drowning in, high creamy sauces. And that's why ketchup goes on everything. Are you a ketchup guy, Phil?
Yeah.
Ketchup has to go on most things. I don't think I have a single meal where I couldn't put ketchup on it, except like creamies and cream of rice. Yeah, I reckon hot take here, ketchup on sushi over soy sauce.
Oh, yeah.
What? Hell yeah, it's rice and chicken. It's literally the same meal that I have, just rolled in a different way.
That's when you put it that way. That's it's true. Yeah. So what's wrong with you, Brooklyn?
If it's in a bowl, unrolled, it's good. If it's rolled, it's bad.
Yes. Textually.
That logic makes sense. Oh, sweet Jesus. I swear the sun just gained 5 points.
Yeah, it's really good. Work it, girl.
I am doing that. Oh, how's this? Yesterday we got all evacuated. We got all evacuated from the building because someone on level 11 overcooked their food.
Oh, is that what it was?
Someone saw smoke coming out. There was 5 fire trucks, a tactical truck, 5 police cars, 2 ambulances, because someone overcooked their chicken on level 11.
It was like a highly smoked to make fun of the door, so then they did like a full like the place is on fire.
Damn.
Turns out someone was
That poor person.
Someone just
that
went for a
feels
nap.
So bad. Yeah.
Left their chicken on the stove.
So it actually was. So when you said Ben overcooked for the first time.
Someone did.
Yeah.
Close the hell door.
So you said Hodel?
Hodor. Hodor. Phil's a Hodor.
Are you showering now or later?
I was like, wait, is this a real question?
I'm gonna take my shoes off and get comfy.
Why is everything you sound so creepy? Sound so creepy?
He's gonna fine me next year because I'm too creepy.
No. I want you to double down on it.
I mean, preferably.
Give me more.
I don't want to get kids.
No, I'm pretty good at leaving out the stuff that would get us cancelled.
See, the best part is it's not just me. There's also you, so you have to get rid of it.
Yeah. But you love Christmas, but you hate people.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the
Those two things can coexist.
It's the exact same storyline as the Grinch. He actually likes Christmas. Hates
Yeah. Didn't like people.
How would you describe that morning cardio session?
Well, the steps weren't cardio, so we're not talking about that, obviously. We're talking about the bike, and the bike was hot as shit. But it's great. Get a little bit of vitamin D, which is my favorite vitamin. Get some cardio in. But yeah, that was good. Good way to start the day. Cardio the other way, go for a walk, get coffee, some caffeine, get a meal in, go train. Good start, you know.
Actually, on that topic, what is your your most favorite way to start the day? If you could have, in Ben's world, you wake up, what do you want to be doing as soon as you wake up? What's the first 2 hours look like?
Clear my guts, go for a walk, have a coffee, get a meal in, go train. I know like Hamosi talks about like he wakes up in the first 4 hours of his day just getting straight into work. But I have played around with how my day is most efficient, and like if I have to train after and I do a whole bunch of work before I start, I feel like shit and I don't train as effective as I can. If I get training out of the way, I can then knuckle down and purely focus on being in the room and just get work blocks done. So it's like I get rid of all the physical stuff that I have to do first thing in the morning. So steps, cardio, training, posing practice, I'll get that done. And then by like 10, I'll work then all through the night into the afternoon, or afternoon to night. So I kind of do it in reverse to what Alex does. But I've found that that's the most efficient way for me to get blocks of work done.
It's good. I'm the same. Doing work first thing in the morning sucks.
I'm just not in the like, I get way more creative at night. So if I'm writing articles, blogs, coming up with ideas, things like that, I will do it in the evening when all my client work is done, because then I know that I'm not going to get like a a distracted period where I'm gonna get like interrupted with questions or like follow-ups or whatever. Like that's obviously my job. That's what gets done during the day. But in the morning, I wake up and I'm sort of focusing on getting my stuff out of the way so I can do the actual job. So like if I decide then at like, 6 a.m. I start doing check-ins, I'm not in the mindset to focus on doing check-ins because I want to get all this other stuff done first. So I just find it's not as productive and efficient. But then if I want to get creative stuff done, it's not a, hey, let's bang this out first thing in the morning. I'd rather do like, so when we do podcasts with Americans, when we do interactions, videos, video calls, that stuff in the morning is great. I can get up and that kind of charges me. Like when I have a conversation with someone that's like a good, deep conversation, that actually gets me going. But if I was to just sit down and just do blocks of like check-in work or programming, that's not a morning thing for me. That's got to be like, I'm pepped up, ready to go, nothing else on my mind. That's what I'm focusing on.
I think getting up earlier, having your walk or your caffeine, and coffee, and doing your session, that gives you more energy so then you can be more creative later.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like I used to think that training after work was the way to go about it. But then I started training in the mornings, getting meals in properly, being well rested first. By the time I got to the afternoon, I was like dragging my feet and sluggish in training. And like, I don't mind like 1 or 2 meals in my stomach before I train. But if I were to have like a full day's worth of food and then try and go to the gym, it just doesn't sit as good as if I have like 1 or 2 meals, plenty of water, my pre-workout, morning coffee or something like that. It's just a different level of performance now. And like that structure and routine has served progression for years that if I do it differently, it just throws me off. So that's how I find it. I think that is the thing that people get wrong, is they're always trying to look at these hyper successful people and think that they have to emulate, copy and paste, as opposed to like, how do I take from what they do and make my own thing? So like you'll look at Hormozi say like, I just get up and start and I'll have a coffee and I do 4-hour blocks of work because no one else is awake. Like that's great if that serves Alex. The issue is that people will look at that and that's not how they're wired, but then will base their adherence or success on whether it's exactly like Alex instead of figuring out how they operate. Like I will work in bursts of time blocking. I'll work in bursts of creativity. I'll work in bursts of philosophical work. I'll work in bursts of check-ins, content creation. I can't just go like, here's 4 straight hours of one thing. But that's apparently what Alex does. If I ran the business on trying to be like Alex, I would not be where I am and how I coach and what I do. So I think that's a huge mistake that people make, is when they look at these hyper successful people on Instagram or social media, YouTube, they'll try and think that they have to copy and paste exactly how they do it, as opposed to how do I break down these different models and frameworks that people talk about and include it in my morning. And that's where you end up with these absolutely ludicrous multi-billionaire 4-hour morning routines for a person that has a 9 to 5, 3 kids, and only earns $80,000. You don't have the time or luxury to spend 4 hours on a morning routine. Figure out the parts that actually serve you, make that into your morning, and do it in 45 minutes. Hot take.
Very hot take. All right, bro. It's been a big year, so we're going to do some reflecting on it.
Oh, okay.
All right. What's one word you would use to describe this year?
One word to describe this year. I think across the board for the company, myself, for our clients, would be growth. Not just like physical growth. Obviously, we're a physique-based company and performance company. That's kind of, inherently included in the process. But more so, one of the things that I'm probably most proud of is the growth that I'm seeing in how people carry themselves, how people that work with us have changed, how the company has changed, how we've lent into the things we're strongest at and our differentiators. 2025 has probably been the biggest year where it's all been embraced the most by both ourselves on our end and on the client-facing end, the way they've embraced what we've challenged them with, how we've pushed them, the way they've accepted confrontation of what they used to think, standards they used to live by, beliefs in themselves. Like the clients that have been with us now for a year, 2 years, 3 years, we're seeing entirely different people come out of 2025 that went into it. So I think that's probably the best way to describe the year, which is growth physically. Like we could talk about the kilos lost, we could talk about the muscle gain, we could talk about the medals on stage, but the actual growth that the clients have faced or developed across the year, I think a lot of them have really changed how they carry themselves as people as opposed to just their physique.
That's cool, bro. That's good. And what did this year demand of you that you didn't expect?
I think it demanded more of an acceptance of who I actually am and how I am. Like, this is the first year where I've really lent into what makes me weird and unique and different as a coach. Like, I used to hesitate a lot talking about philosophy. I used to hesitate a lot talking about psychology. I used to hesitate a lot talking about my approaches to hypertrophy or training or body composition models. I used to be more concerned with how other coaches' frameworks might be included with mine. But this year, as we started to level up and people started inviting me to talk about stuff or put me in different positions or different rooms, I think this year probably forced me to accept more of what makes me unique and weird, and look at it more as a trait or a skill as opposed to something negative. Yeah, I think that's probably the biggest thing about this year. Like, business-wise and stuff, we've leveled up how we do and refine and implement systems and strategies and programming, that sort of thing. But the thing that made it most unique and forced me to look at it that way was probably just accepting how weird and different I am.
It's very true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you'll find that in our content. You'll find that, like, if you were to go back 12 months, 2 years, one of the things that because I really implement ChatGPT and how I do things. I don't implement it as like a, hey, run my business, but more so like I challenge myself with ChatGPT, it's almost like an external introspective test, like litmus test, pressure testing, things like that. And if you were to go back 2 years, 3 years, you would probably see glimpses of the way that I think now back then, but I was hesitant to lean into it and actually own it and use it. Not that I wasn't already thinking it, it was just I didn't think that belonged in how I spoke or social media content or YouTube or training or whatever it might be. Whereas now, you'll probably find a lot more buy-in to that approach. You'll see it a lot more clearly, you'll see it a lot more bluntly, you'll see it directly. I'm a lot more about challenging people's identity, their narratives, their beliefs, their stories, excuses, the extreme positions I do take, which is really about training and more about philosophy and life and ownership and accountability, responsibility, excuses. That stuff I get really heavy on and get really extreme on. I think that's really come through the last 12 months comparatively to, say, 2 or 3 years ago, where I was like, maybe don't put it that way, maybe don't say it that way. But I think that's where, going back to the point about our clients, the leveling up they've seen in their identity and how they view themselves is because we've probably leveled up how much we embrace that and put it into action.
What are you most proud of that doesn't show up on the social media?
What am I most proud of that doesn't show up on social media? Is that a personal reflection or is that about like the business or clients?
Yeah, it could be both, bro. Could be both. 'Cause obviously you put a lot out there about all your successes that you've had throughout the year, I guess in business and personal and new clients, but has there been anything that's really stood out, that hasn't been shared or behind the scenes that people might not actually see?
I think the biggest thing that I'm proud of that isn't really seen is most likely the buy-in and belief of what we're trying to do. I think that's something that, like, it's always been kind of, again, dabbled on or talked about, but there's genuine belief now that it's not an if but a when the things that we talk about will happen and these things will become real or these things will become reality. And that's starting to express itself in even the way clients talk about their goals, the way clients talk about their ambitions. So one thing I find is the more I believe in and buy in what we're doing, the more Brooklyn buys in and believes in what we're doing, the more it's starting to resonate with the right audience. And I think for a long time it was trying to find a way to fit everybody and not accepting of the uniqueness that we have in how we coach and do things and how I do things. Whereas now the more we lean into it, the more there's belief in it, the more it's specific and language gets changed or directed or curated towards the right people. It's less about trying to bring everyone in and trying to level up the right ones. And I think that's landing better and clearer. And that's probably stemmed from behind the scenes, me starting to buy in and believe more in that the bigger picture is not an if, but a when. It's just something that I don't really talk about probably day to day. So the bigger picture behind everything is less like we're going to put 10 people on stage shredded as all hell and they're going to win 20 trophies. I'm less concerned with that stuff as I'm changing about the way people perceive potential and possibility and the way they can change their life through physique development. So the more that becomes a reality, that is probably the thing that I'm going to be most proud of, or am most proud of.
And how has Matter changed this year in its philosophy?
I don't think it's changed this year so much as it's doubled down. I think that's probably the biggest thing is that where we change is mostly in the fact that we buy into it more. So we get clearer, we get more specific, I get more confident talking about it, it's more refined, the language is clearer, the systems are more specific and more structured. It's become more about doubling down on the things that I'm really passionate about and the things that I believe in. For example, the creation of literally working behind the scenes of a almost like a life system. People have Stoicism, people have Epicureanism, people have Taoism. I am working on how that implements with physical development, life development, and how the two should be something that happen at the same time. That's probably where Matter has changed the most this year, but it's less change and more about doubling down on what we believe in and getting more specific about it.
What did coaching teach you? What did coaching people this year teach you about responsibility?
That everyone is responsible for the result that they want. Everyone is responsible for the problems that they face. Everyone is responsible for the solutions to those problems. I've yet to face someone where when they doubled down and set a standard of expectation for themselves and kept accountable to that, kept aligned with that the solution wasn't found in their work. Most people that I find who don't progress, who don't make a difference, who don't make a change, are bought into the victim mentality that the problem is defining their life and they get stuck where they are because they're looking for ways to validate that excuse. The ones who have moved furthest forward have accepted that there is a problem, but have also accepted that it is their responsibility to solve it, whether it be by leaning on me, by leaning on other people, their support network, their systems. I think that's probably been the biggest thing that responsibility has taught this year around coaching. And the coolest thing is the way in which I coach identity, the way in which I coach, for lack of hating the word, mindset, is that you might not be directly at fault for something that went wrong. You might not be directly at fault for an experience, a situation, a circumstance, whatever it might be. But once you recognize that it is solvable, it then becomes your responsibility to find it. The clients that have accepted that have doubled results in the last 12 months compared to previously. So I think that's probably the biggest thing that responsibility has really shown me this year. And that will lead to next year me doubling down on that even further.
Mm-hmm. So next year you're going to double down on being a mindset coach? All right, we won't go any further on that.
Mindset coaches.
Shit. What's something you had to let go of this year to grow in the business? And was there? And if there was, what was it?
Something that I had to let go of was the doubt that my way or approach was different or unique. There's always a part of me that feels like I don't belong in the room, that I'm not up to the standard, that I don't fit in where I go. I'm not as good a coach as what I could be or might be. And that drives me a lot to get things done, because I'll always have a sense of or urgency to get things done and kind of prove that I should be there. And that's more like an internal race for me. But one of the biggest things this year that I've had to let go of is that fact that my approach is unique. My approach to coaching is different. The way that we do things is slightly different. Everyone has sets and rep models. Everyone has X and O models. It's not a big deal. But the way in which we approach things and do things is very unique to us for the most part. And so I think that's probably the biggest thing this year that I really had to let go of, was doubt that was the case.
What does a good life actually look like to you day to day?
A good life for me, day to day, looks like a consistent struggle towards something fulfilling and purposeful outside of self. So as long as I'm working towards something that is bigger than me and that is towards pushing me to be better in order to achieve it, then regardless of what that is, I am probably living a good life. How that coincides with my career and business and choices, will be relative to anyone. But for me, that means, I'm consistently looking at ways of growing, developing, improving, changing, anything that's going to lead to me being able to contribute better than what I currently am, at a higher level than I currently am, at a greater capacity than I currently am. Then to me, that is something worth suffering for. That's something worth struggling for. And I think that leads to a good life inevitably, regardless of whether you actually get there. I think that's the biggest thing that people get wrong when they try to look for a happy life, or they try to look for a good life, or they try to look for, the perfect outcome, is that they're looking at what is the destination. I'll be happy when I get there. If I win $1 billion or if I win the lottery, this will make me a happier person. For me, the good life, the happy life, is struggling towards something specific that I'm trying to achieve that ends up making a bigger difference than when I started.
Preach. Now, you touched on this earlier when we were out there about like the Christmas food, if you're eating real Christmas food. But how should people approach food and training and structure right now?
Right now, I get tired of coaches that have paid money to coach telling people to just not care for Christmas week. It drives me insane that you can sit there and take someone's money and say that Christmas week is not a week to try and push yourself. You have 52 weeks in a year, and you are telling a client that is paying you money to waste one of those weeks doing nothing. It is one of the laziest things I've ever heard.
Hang on, sorry. Can I jump in? When a coach tells are you saying when a coach tells a client that they can't eat what they want through Christmas week, or they can eat whatever they want?
So more in the sense of eat whatever you want, don't track, don't train, take the week off. If you haven't structured that into your program, you structure that into how your system works, and it isn't an intentional deload or diet break or refeed strategy, then I just think you're being lazy and a sellout. You're being a cop-out. You're justifying very strange positions with clients that are paying you money. Now, if your model pushes that, okay, but there's one day this week that is actually a significant public holiday that is designed around tradition and family. The biggest problem that we have in most people is that they throw the baby out the bathwater, right? They go all or nothing. You give them the leeway to say, hey, have Christmas off, eat whatever you want, do whatever you want. That generally perpetuates a sense of belief that it doesn't matter or the week is off. Most people don't have a bad week. Most people have a bad moment and then it spirals. We're incentivizing a bad moment and then incentivizing after the fact and saying, oh, it's just a week, relax, enjoy yourself, you've earned it. Have you? Have you actually earned it? Have you given everything this year to maximize where you are and maximize the opportunities that you've had? And therefore a diet break is necessary or possible or, a good idea. For me, whatever is the way you best respond to Christmas is the way that you should spend it. So if you are someone that finds calm and relaxation in structure, then you stick to your plan. You stick to training, you stick to your nutrition, you have strategies around a free meal or a diet break over Christmas Day, which is what we're doing. you find ways to include the things that you want to celebrate while still maintaining the life that you live. If you are genuinely someone who identifies as a health and fitness advocate, someone that lives that lifestyle, you don't need this sense of breaking the plan because it's a part of what you already do. It would just feel natural to include it. We get this notion that Christmas is supposed to be this period where you just throw everything out and eat whatever you want, because if you track something or are concerned with the macros or the carbohydrates or the proteins, that it's unhealthy and obsessive and dangerous and you're ruining the day. Whatever someone else chooses to do, who cares? If I decide to track my food, that's on me. If I decide not to track my food, that's on me. But is it something that I've intentionally done and decided to do, or is it something that everyone else is telling me to do because they don't want to feel guilty about the presence of me being accountable and tracked on Christmas Day whilst they drink 4 liters of alcohol? That isn't my concern. My concern is what I need to do for me and perhaps someone else I'm responsible for. But yeah, as a coach, for me, stick to the system that is best serving you. That is, if you need a diet break or you've earned a diet break or you need a refeed or a deload. I have clients doing both ends of the spectrum this week. Clients that have busted balls for months on end. It coincides with a diet break, a maintenance period, and deload. I've got clients where, hey, we're training for a certain thing. We're in prep. Here is the strategy used for that one day. But it can't be a single brush stroke that you're just simply, everyone stop training and don't worry about food on Christmas Day. It's too obsessive to worry about tracking your food. You don't understand personalities and people if you think that's the answer. So apparently I've got a bit to say on that.
Yep. That you do. What would you say to someone who's feeling behind right now? So let's say, for example, with what you were just saying now, someone has gone and had that bad Christmas week and now they're feeling behind. What do you got to say to them?
Start with where your feet are. That is the easiest way to look at any situation or decision or period. We always look for future justification. We always look for future starting points. It's always, I'll start in the new year. Don't worry about it. It's Christmas time. I'll do this and start then. I'll do this and start here. The best way to catch yourself in those lies and the best way to catch yourself in those moments is to focus on where your feet are. Play where your feet are. Play the next at bat and use that as the moment to make the decision. Most people don't experience a bad day or a bad week. They experience a bad moment and then let that spiral. Did you actually have a bad day, or did you have 20 minutes of perhaps eating some food you shouldn't have? Catching yourself where your feet are and saying, hey, I did this thing. Now here's the next decision to get back on track. That is the best way to go about catching yourself and trying to correct or get back on the horse that you've proverbially fell off. So for me, if you've made the mistakes over Christmas, then your coach said you shouldn't do that, or you agreed you weren't going to do that and it happened. Okay, cool. Take responsibility, own up to that decision, assess why it happened, start where your feet are, make the next best choice to get back on track. The faster you can correct yourself, the faster you'll return to normality, the faster you'll just offset whatever it is you just did anyway. So that to me is the speed at which someone can catch the fall indicates to me the level of progression they're making. If you get stuck at the fall and you stay down there, we've got a lot of work to do. The best way to get back on track is to simply catch the fall where it is, where the thing happened, focus on where your feet are, start with the next best action that's going to get you back on track.
What does it mean when someone chooses Matter? What does it mean to you? What do you think it means to them?
When someone chooses Matter, I think they're accepting responsibility and taking ownership. So, yeah, anyone can run a 12-week training program. Anyone can run a 12-week challenge and rapidly cut weight, or rapidly do some drastic things to their physique. But one of the things that you are choosing when you choose us is responsibility, accountability, and ownership of where you are, where you want to be, and how you're going to get there. Because what you're going to get from me is not going to be a soft mindset coach approach that's going to pat you on the back for simply showing up. Our systems are designed to call you out on your bullshit. Our systems are designed to support you through the changes, and our systems and processes are designed to get you where you want to go as long as you put in the work. So once you make that decision, it's now your responsibility not only to ask, am I capable of doing more, but it then becomes your responsibility to decide to do it and act on it. I think that's what realistically it means to choose us that makes us different from a lot of other people and systems.
What will Matter continue to stand for, no matter how it grows?
The people are more capable and responsible than they realize. They just have to accept that and confront the challenge of doing it. That philosophy, I think, will cover any department, realm, or field that we operate in, is that you have more potential than you realize. The issue is that you've never believed it, you've never asked it, and you've never attempted to reach it, and so you don't think it's possible. We are literally designing the system to make sure that you do ask it, that you look for it, and then it becomes possible to reach it.
Nice. That's it for all the serious stuff.
Let's do some other shit.
Yeah. Is there anything that's on your mind, or like anything flowing off any of them that's got you thinking?
No, I think the biggest thing at this time of year is people get really caught up with like what New Year's Day and New Year's week is going to look like. How they're going to change their life, and they're going to quit all these things and start these new things and make all these changes and lifestyle modifications. But the biggest problem is when people make those changes, they don't change the person who they are so that the changes they make become sustainable. And with that, it makes it easy for them to fall off and return to the baseline that they had. Instead of trying to drastically change your life this year or next year and trying to modify everything about yourself, I'm going to cut out all this food, I'm not going to smoke again, I'm not going to drink again, I'm going to go to bed on time, when you've got no history of doing those things, ask yourself if you are the person who is capable of sustaining those changes once they happen. Because if the answer is no, that's where you're supposed to start to work. Identity, behavior, action is the workflow. When you look at it as, am I creating the person capable of reaching these standards and levels? Then you ask, how do I then, or what are those behaviors that I need to change? And then you ask, what are the actions that make those changes possible? That is the order of execution that leads to not only significant changes in your physique, in your lifestyle, in how you do things, but it leads to sustaining those changes or progressing to make them better. You do that every single year, and you will genuinely progress in life year on year. It should get to a point at the back end of your season, your year, your quarter, whatever it is, where you are looking at, how does my identity align with the things that I'm trying to do? Is my identity able to sustain the changes that I'm trying to make? Are there parts of me that I can improve upon? And are there parts of me that I should let go of? If you do those things or ask those questions, there is no doubt that year on year you progress as a person. And I think that's the biggest lie that most people fall for, is that you aren't supposed to keep growing as you get older. We get to this weird stagnant state of 25 to 30, and we think we've learned all that life has to offer and all the things that we're supposed to do, and we've got the white picket fence and 2 kids, and that's it. But you have 85 years of potential growth that you're not maximizing because you think you've learned all there is to learn, or expect of yourself, or push yourself towards. You ask those questions year on year, and I guarantee the way you look back in 50 years time from where you started, you've lived 5 lifetimes and become 3 different people in that period, compared to if you just kept repeating the same New Year resolution bullshit year on year. Yeah, that's what's in my head.
Cool. I like. Remember last time we were talking at the end of the vlog, and you're telling me how you play games?
Mm-hmm.
Did you say you play Warhammer?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, explain to me what Warhammer is, without sounding like a virgin that just paints that paints dolls.
Warhammer is intentionally written as the most extreme, rule of cool, outlandish, gruesome universe that you could possibly read about. It is nothing but xenophobic, mass genocidal war that is designed in a universe where there is perpetual states of violence and everything is about killing other things and trying to have your empire succeed. It literally obeys the rule of cool, and that is how it pretty much defines the universe that it exists in. So if it's dumb and cool, that's a rule in the universe, as opposed to does this make logical sense? It started off as a tabletop figurine design board game, and then expanded into a multi-field universe of board games, books, comics, video games, RTS strategy, first-person shooter. It's huge. And there are more people, I think, now that actually like it, but don't want to admit it because they want to lie to themselves or sound like giant virgins. But it's cool. When you start reading it and you play it, it's cool. That's what Warhammer is.
Poor Brooklyn. Oh, shit.
Actually, what's funny is that all of the stuff that we put out and all the things we talk about, and people are more concerned about whether or not Kyle had actually seen Lord of the Rings and whether I play video games.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. The kid needs to get out more.
Yeah.
You're hearing this, Kyle? Do some living.
Yeah, get out and watch Lord of the Rings. Before you set foot in the house again, Kyle, you got to watch Lord of the Rings.
All right, Geek Boy, show me the rarest Pokemon card you have. Or tell me, maybe you don't want to show it because people might come and steal it.
Rarest Pokemon card I have. I think I have about 120 of the 150 of the first edition ever released. There's gaps in there where they're not like the actual first edition, but I mean the first run of cards. But I have a actual first edition holographic Marchamp. When graded, is worth about $40,000.
Did you start collecting them like when they first came out, or was it only more recently you've started collecting them?
No, that's like part of the deck that I have is from my original deck from the 90s when I was a kid in school.
Damn, all the way back in the 90s.
Yeah. Mum kept them. I believe someone in my family had acquired the Charizard from that deck.
Yeah.
Because I'm missing my original Venusaur, original Blastoise, original Charizard. The other two you can find. It's not a big deal. But it was either a first edition or original holo. Maybe not first edition. Can't remember. But definitely had it. Now I don't have it. And it's going to be very expensive to finish off that deck now.
Is it a brother? Should we go get him?
Yes, probably.
Is he sold off for drugs?
Probably. No, not really. But yeah, so I started collecting them, going back to the 90s. And then I thought I'd lost them. And then randomly Mum was like, Mum has a very nostalgic collector approach to childhood. And she was like, no, they're over here. They're in this black bag. And I was like, what? Found them and then put them straight into sleeves and locked those bad boys up very quickly. I am missing my original Yu-Gi-Oh deck though, because I had the original Yu-Gi-Oh deck with Dark Magician. I had the original Kaiba deck with original Blue Eyes White Dragons. So I want to try and grow those back as well. But main deck that I kept keeping and kept collecting was the Pokemon cards. I've got sealed original Mewtwo, Electabuzz, Charmeleon, and another one that was sealed in plastic that came with the first Pokemon movie that came out in 2000.
That's cool. So what's your plan with them then? Like, so you've got these valuable cards. Will you ever sell them, or you think you want them and you're going to keep them to have them?
No, I like them to have them.
Yeah.
It's like Jordans. Like, I don't collect them for the value sake. I collect them because I enjoy them and actually like them.
Yeah.
Which is why I don't get caught up in the bullshit scalping that goes on now in Pokemon. I can't stand it.
Yeah.
You see people like buy 40 packs at a time and all they're doing is to open it, try and see what the holographic is. I see kids go through the cards and they've thrown them away, then to try and get to the holographic, like the big reveal.
Yeah.
They're not collecting cards because they're building a deck to go play Pokemon. They're opening packs because they're gambling, and it's just rather than talking about gambling on the lottery and scratchies, they're trying to gamble on holographic Pokemon cards.
Yeah.
There's a difference, in my opinion, between collecting and gambling, and you're gambling.
Yeah.
So I don't I don't collect them with the intention of like, oh, these will have to be PSA 10s and I'm going to build this deck that's going to be worth $1 million and then sell it. I want to complete the deck so that I can one day just have a giant nerd room that's going to have all 151 sitting in it and be like, that's my... I won't brag that I have money and time, but there'll be signs. And it'll be that I have a bunch of nerdy shit that no one will actually probably see.
Will you invite me in that room?
Hey, I'll invite you in the other room. The Mr. Grey room.
All right, is Charizard overrated? Careful how you answer this, please.
Charizard is overrated because of the way the field has gotten carried away. There's so many different arts and versions of Charizard now, and there's different, styles and patterns and releases where it's just lost the appeal. Like, getting one is cool, but it's cool because you think you just made $10,000 or $15,000 or $5,000. It's not cool because you actually understand the game and want to use Charizard in your deck or like complete something. It's cool because it's shiny and you think it's worth a lot of money. So I think Charizard has become so overhyped and overrated now. It hasn't watered down the respect of Charizard. It's that it's overinflated it, and at a certain point it just becomes annoying. So, yeah, I think it's overhyped.
Okay.
I still want my Charizard, but I want it because I've wanted to keep my deck since that would make me 7 years old, versus looking at Pokemon now as a stock to try and collect. There are people that look at Pokemon cards as stock, as a value to invest in, as like a share portfolio. So to me, that just gets annoying.
Yeah. What hill will you die on when it comes to Marvel?
The last 10 years of Marvel movies are not part of canon. They're an absolute waste of time, and not a single good movie has come out.
In 10 years? They're all not as good as what?
Going back to the build-up of Endgame and Infinity War, not even close.
Okay. Yep.
Deadpool, good, but the inconsistencies, the plot holes, the poor storytelling, the poor character development, the rushed timelines, the fear of public scrutiny, removing characters, adding characters, the fact that the directors and producers have to come out and say, we need to stop putting out so much because it's crap and no one's liking it, and actually focus on putting out quality again, tells you a lot about a company like Disney to say that. So, yeah, I don't think that... I'd have to go back through the entire volume of the last decade, but as far as I'm concerned, since Infinity War and Endgame, they've released B-grade movies.
Yep. That's fair.
They make money, but they make money because they've written into the storylines essential plot holes or story arcs or Easter eggs that you have to watch to understand the next film, so it skews the data to perceiving that viewership equals quality. It doesn't. It just means that they've trapped you in a way where you have to keep watching the story to continue watching the story. That's my hill.
How often do you use history in your coaching approaches?
It'll depend on context. Like I could use historical experiences of philosophy. I could use historical extremes in nutrition. I'll push ways of physical exertion. Like easy examples are always like, people are very coddled now, and they think that a small cold is an excuse to stop training for 2 weeks. But you look back at where entire empires or militaries or armies had to march across a plain of Europe, and you look at Napoleon carrying his army through to Moscow, and winter sets in, and they're going through the hellish snow of Russia, and they still manage to fight and get that close to the seat of the empire, then reverse, go back the other way and still fight, like the Battle of Waterloo. You look at what they were capable of doing, and then we see today where someone's like, oh, I had a small cold, or the temperature changed so I couldn't go outside for a run. you have to use those experiences. If someone doesn't have that experience, you can show them to a point in time where the physical capabilities of the human body were at such a high level that it tells them it's possible and removes that excuse. So it'll depend on the situation. It'll depend on, what I'm looking at or what's being said to me, where I'll challenge that with something historical. I'll apply philosophical positions. I'll use stoicism and epicureanism. I'll share something that, hey, this part of this means this, and here's how it disproves your point or your belief or supports your point. So, it kind of, that just kind of tracked it even right there, I guess, but I'll get caught up and share stuff.
All right, moving on to the next one, which is, all right, I don't know, you should probably answer this carefully as well, this next one.
Oh, great.
Because the question's kind of set up to get you in trouble.
Lovely.
What opinion do you hold that gets you in trouble the most? No comment. I do not answer questions.
What opinion do I hold? Let's keep it about training.
Okay, that's a good idea.
Most evidence-based coaches don't understand evidence or research. If people that proclaim to be evidence-based or science-based lifters were actually as evidence-based or educated as they thought, they wouldn't have the need to put it in the title of how they describe themselves as coaches. They would just be coaches. Evidence-based, science-based should be the basis to which you coach in the first place. It's not a descriptor or something you need to identify with, but it's used as an almost appeal to authority so that you sound more intellectually superior to the person you're debating or challenging. And most of the people that have to claim it in their descriptor are realistically just trying to over jargon flex on social media to seem intelligent, but have next to minimal in the field application of the thing they're talking about. Some of the most advanced, educated coaches in the world that I've spoken to, I've never once heard them refer to themselves as science-based or evidence-based lifters or coaches. They just simply are coaches and they train. So that's probably the opinion that gets me most in trouble, because it's somehow a flex to say that you use evidence to build the basis of your programming, but every good coach that I know does that. And even the bros, when we still find they get things right, whilst they might not ground it in absolute literature, are basing it on evidence and data that they understand in the things that they apply. So I think the term itself, being in how you describe yourself as a coach, is a moot point.
Yep. Do you think people want change or permission?
Do I think people want change or permission? Oh, rebuttal point. I think a lot more people need someone that they believe in or trust or look up to give them permission to change.
I like that.
There's a lot of people that have never believed that they could change something about themselves, or that they're allowed to change, or that they're allowed to outgrow their circles or their environment or their situation. A lot of people will often come to someone simply to get the permission that they need to internally justify the right to change. And this is something I've seen across the board with a lot of our clients, is that they don't just get permission from me, they get challenged. If they tell me they want something and their situation is not at the level that is required to achieve that outcome, I will challenge them to change something about themselves to make it possible. People that started off with, I drink socially on the weekends, become sober, focused on their health and fitness and nutrition, not because I demand it, but because where you're telling me you want to go often means that you're probably not going to go out drinking. Or your social circle will shrink because the people that you used to surround yourself with were still sitting around the same glass table talking about the same things of yesteryear and how the good old days used to be, instead of looking at how good the current days are and what still can be. And so they end up removing themselves from those situations and putting themselves around better environments that allow change to take place. So back to the original point, I think a lot more people are seeking permission to allow themselves to change and then make that change possible.
Very wise. Would you recommend uni to your younger self?
No, not my younger self. I would 100% have failed university if I went there straight after school. Hands down, without question. The time it's taken me to figure out me, understand me and how I work, I did not fit the usual mold of how tertiary education works. But I still don't. I just had to figure out me and how I best utilize it. I think nowadays for more soft sciences, social sciences, some health fields, and a lot of liberal degrees, you are more told what to think as opposed to being taught how to think. And that is in direct confliction with how I view education. So I had to get to a point where I could accept that and learn to study myself and how I learn, hence the content I've been putting out on how to study, versus going in and being told what to think and what to study and how you're supposed to view it. That's probably the biggest misconception I think that tertiary education currently has, is that you go there to become more intelligent. The reality is you go there to spit out what they want you to spit out.
If life had a skill tree, what do most people ignore?
If life had a skill tree, what do most people ignore?
Common sense.
Common sense. Most people ignore common sense. There's a reason why the joke says common sense isn't common. No, I think the biggest skill gap that people ignore or brush past is critical thinking, inductive and deductive reasoning, being able to ask secondary level thinking and questions that have you challenge what you are seeing as or being told what the point is, and actually trying to deduce, dissect, and understand the information you're presented with and make decisions according to that as opposed to simply what you were told. I think that is probably the biggest skill that most people lack. And that's where you get caught up with. An example of this is when you see all of the gurus and the charlatans on social media where, the paleo diet is this, and you've got to cut these things out of your diet, and you've got to do this for exercise, and this exercise targets fat loss here. To the average person who isn't thinking critically about that statement or the absolutes, or how does that absolute associate or reflect to something that I do understand, so I can look at that and say that's stupid. They fall for the appeal to authority. They fall for the appeal to social validation, high follower counts, and then just simply take that information in without having the ability to dissect it, break it down, and then really look at it logically and say, is that actually the answer or true? Should I find a challenging position to question that? And this goes back to why I don't like education at an early age, is because we're not taught how to think like that. We're taught what to think. We're taught to trust certain people. We're taught to trust certain levels of authority. And so you aren't given the skill of critical thinking. And then as a meta thought to that, because you don't know that you don't have the skill of critical thinking, you aren't then out seeking how to think more critically. You don't realize that that is a thing that you need to do or develop because you haven't been taught or told to develop it. So it's a very interesting, almost circular logic and a metacognitive level. But most people at a baseline, whether it's intentional or subconscious, bypass critical thinking as a skill.
Well, lucky there's no life skill tree then. Have you played Dungeons and Dragons?
Yeah.
Isn't that Warhammer? Are they the same?
No. So Dungeons and Dragons is more of a imaginary role-playing game. So depending on, you'll have a dungeon master, you'll have different character types, you'll build an individual character up. Warhammer on the tabletop version, whilst it's, I guess, imaginary, there's not really a battle going on. You have actual figurines that have unit counts, they have scores, they have attack points, they have defense points, they have abilities. they do things, and you have to have them physically on the table. For Dungeons and Dragons, you have a dungeon master, the person who can create the lore that you are playing. They just dictate the terms of the game and the level that you're on, or the environment that you're in, the scene that you're trying to play out. They'll make, random decision making. They have sort of rules they're governed by, and then each player's imaginary character is then they are responsible for the choices and actions they make in response to those situations. But it's not like there's a real tangible character playing. Some people have like tabletop versions where they'll make full-blown environments, and you have these little figurine, like a single figurine. You have one character, and he's an archer, he's a barbarian, he's a thief, whatever it might be. That's Dungeons and Dragons.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
Cool story, bro.
And they're all versions.
All right. Well, here's one that I am interested in your opinion. Who do you believe would come out on top out of all of the, like the superheroes, and including like your DC, your Marvel, and I'm talking like your Gokus, like your Yu-Gi-Oh. Like, who's coming out on top? If you had all like the best of the best, like the Supermans, the Gokus, like everyone from any cartoon, superhero movie, who's coming out on top? You put them all in a room, who's winning that?
It's hard because power scales now are so stupid and uncontrolled. With dumb stories like the way they expand Dragon Ball Z, they have to keep leveling up the capabilities of the characters, because otherwise it leads to character regression, and then the new villains have to go backwards, and they have to go backwards in order to weaken them and nerf the power points. So Dragon Ball Z starts to get carried away. Like, Goku and Vegeta are basically gods now, which makes it really hard to say that they would lose, because they legitimately have god level powers. But at the same time, you then have guys like Molecule Man and Franklin Richards. Franklin Richards is the son of Sue Storm and Reed Richards. He's what they call an omega level mutant for reality manipulation. So he can change on a whim anything about a reality that is in at any point in time. So he is at one point so powerful that he has the gods of the Marvel universe basically be his bitch. So he would probably be the most powerful character that comes out. But if we were to talk about like...
Okay, we're going pure physicality?
Pure physicality.
It's a hard one, hey?
That is hard. Purely on the displayed abilities of Saiyans, Goku kind of has to progress above everyone because he just keeps leveling up. There's never been a villain in his story development.
Even Superman? He'd been Superman? He'd been in Homelander?
Oh, he's pumping Homelander. Superman's the Charizard of DC. He's cool, he has amazing powers, it's crazy level that he gets to achieve, but at the same time he's so overhyped that they just keep riding these ridiculous levels that he apparently achieves for just being an alien. And most of the time it requires him to be on Earth under a sun that makes him that powerful, so you take him away from that, he gets pumped.
Yeah.
But a outlier that I think less depth level nerds would know about is Doctor Doom dominates. Doctor Doom, and he's coming up actually in the next wave of Marvel movies as the main villain of the Secret Wars. He is probably one of the most underrated villains of all time, but correctly rated the people that actually appreciate Doctor Doom. His strength, there's a scene where he punches Thanos and rips his spine out of his body with one punch and just holds it in front of him and basically laughs at him. So that's like the guy who dominated the Marvel universe and took over with all the Infinity Stones. Doctor Doom walks up, punches him in the chest, rips out his spine and kills him in a punch. So in terms of sheer feats of power, Doctor Doom starts getting pretty crazy for what is just essentially a normal human that's just really smart and kind of magic. But yeah, Goku starts to get pretty up there if he's just on a sheer who he's fighting basis because of the way they've written him. His character skill is that his power level incrementally increases based on the story that he exists in. It's called plot armor. Goku will never lose directly in a story. It was voted by viewers back when they were deciding, does Gohan take the lead character development or does Goku? And the viewers decided Goku, and so now it's basically written that Goku will never realistically lose a fight.
So Goku's the daddy?
Yeah, I guess so.
Cool. We can be friends again. All right, bro. Give the people a final wrap up. Goodbye. Thank you for the year. Final thoughts.
Oh man, what a year. There's been a lot. We've done a lot. We've put out a lot. Yeah, we've put out a lot. Yeah, it's just been, 2025 has been crazy. Next year intends to be just as, if not more crazy. I'm really excited to show what we're doing, where we're going, how we're changing, help more people, reach more people, impact more lives, change things for the better. And obviously have everyone follow along for, what is going to be my next prep, get on stage in April. The fact that we've reached, plus 2,000 subscribers on YouTube is wild. The fact that our Instagram is growing, the fact that people are wanting to see and read and hear our stuff means that I think more people are inquisitive and curious about philosophy and purpose, self-suffering, self-development than what we initially thought. And I'm extremely humbled and grateful the fact that happens. I think we spoke about it the other day, the fact that people are coming up to me at the gym to say that they watch our stuff, ask us questions. That'll never not feel like an interesting, humbling experience to me, because I just think I'm talking absolute shit, and it's interesting that people want to watch that. But to have people come up and say they've see our stuff and it's helped them answer questions or change something, that's unreal to me. So hugely appreciative of that. And just grateful for the support, encouragement, anyone that views, downloads, clicks, shares, does anything. That's the stuff that drives growth that people don't realize. You don't have to spend money to help us. And a lot of people give up their time to watch our stuff, listen to our stuff, follow podcasts, download blogs or ebooks or whatever it might be. So if you've done any of that, we appreciate it. I know Brooklyn appreciates it. She's the one who makes it all look pretty behind the scenes. So if you're clicking it and you're watching it, it's probably because she made it look that way. I just say the stuff and talk out my ass. But yeah, we're going to keep doing the same thing next year. We're going to double down on the stuff that's worked. We're going to go harder on things that we know we should. We're going to call out more crap. We're going to call out more of your BS, challenge more of your identity, and make you realize that you can do more things than you thought. So make sure you keep subscribing, follow, like, share, comment, and we're going to get ready for the gym and go smash a back session.